In 2021, the Pentagon, through the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, asked for proposals for real-time comprehensive tools that establish ground truth for how countries are conducting domestic information control. DARPA's goal in developing AI technology for measuring the information control environment was to help the U.S. government better understand how digitally authoritarian regimes repress their populations at scale over the internet via censorship, blocking, or throttling. Of course, the solicitation made it clear that the Pentagon did not want the proposals to look at activities of the U.S. government. The Pentagon and the U.S. government as a whole enjoy professing moral superiority over authoritarian governments when it comes to upholding basic democratic values. American politicians have no qualms about criticizing foreign governments like Russia and China for their suppression of civil liberties and efforts to eliminate dissent. Yet, there seems to be a complete unwillingness to have an honest conversation about the disturbingly similar actions our own government is actively engaged in and financing. For decades, the Pentagon and other federal agencies have been quietly partnering with private organizations to develop powerful surveillance and intervention tools designed to monitor and influence narratives on social media. For example, a 2021 Pentagon program called Civil Sanctuary sought to use artificial intelligence tools to scale the moderation capability of social media platforms to create what it describes as a more stable information environment. In other words, the goal of this Pentagon program was to exponentially multiply the government's ability to coordinate censorship of online speech. The Pentagon has invested millions of dollars to develop these tools, not only for use by social media companies, but also the intelligence community and law enforcement. Meanwhile, the Department of Commerce is awarding million-dollar grants for cognitive research into how the U.S. government can foster trust in artificial intelligence with the general public. So while the federal government is using taxpayer dollars to develop AI to surveil and monitor Americans' online speech, it is also spending money to figure out how to get you to trust the government with AI. Over the last year, starting with the Twitter files, journalists started to expose the deep coordination between the federal government and social media. When it comes to content moderation, these decisions in policing and the speech of Americans, we've seen this enormous connection between government and private entities. As Michael Schellenberger rightly points out, the threat to our civil liberties comes not from AI, but from the people who want to control it and use it to censor information. It isn't the tool, it's the corruption of power that is always the problem. Just last week, the Fifth Circuit affirmed the government likely violated the First Amendment. A big deal. Violated the First Amendment by coercing social media companies to remove speech from the government that the government disagreed with related to the origins of COVID-19, the pandemic lockdowns, vaccine efficacy, and the Hunter Biden laptop story. The court cited numerous examples of U.S. government officials engaging in domestic information control on social media. Our concern is not that they're doing it, but they're going to do it even more efficiently and even more ruthlessly if they get artificial intelligence and are able to comb through the entire internet. They're already doing this. Our concern with artificial intelligence is they will take that tool and much more efficiently go through millions and millions of posts to say, that's not allowed, that's not allowed. Government officials demanded that the platforms implement stronger COVID misinformation monitoring programs. And then they threatened the platforms. They threatened them with taking away 230. They threatened them with antitrust action. It's amazing. This was no sort of please take down some information. It was take it down or else. And that's what the court, and that's why the court enjoined and said to the Biden administration, you must stop. Currently, the Biden administration is not meeting with them. They've had to cancel their meetings with the FBI and with the Department of Homeland Security. But this is a big deal. But it seems to be only one side of the aisle has been concerned at all with what has happened, because some of it involves politics. But it shouldn't. I mean, free speech should be something that both parties really are concerned with trying to protect. After one meeting with federal officials, one platform, social media platform, committed to reducing the visibility of information that was skeptical of the government's COVID vaccine policy, even when it did not contain any misinformation. So they were saying, even if it's true, we want you to take it down because some people might not get vaccinated because you said something that actually did occur, but we don't want people to know that because it would lessen people's enthusiasm. That is a crazy notion. Facebook promised to label and demote a popular video after officials flagged it, even though they acknowledged it did not qualify for removal under its policies. I fear that we are likely only in the beginning stages of understanding the extent of the federal government's involvement in content moderation and the decisions that private social media platforms make. What we do know is that our government is funding the development of powerful artificial intelligence tools for monitoring and shaping online discourse. Now, I want to be clear, AI is not inherently malicious. It has the potential to revolutionize basic aspects of society, from healthcare to education. However, in the hands of unchecked government, AI can be weaponized as a tool to suppress fundamental values like speech, things that our country was founded upon. The open exchange of ideas, the freedom to question, and the right to dissent. This should not be a partisan issue.